All right, this is my update on this month one of my business in a month challenge. This month, as a reminder, we're doing the Practical Edge newsletter. Um, it is currently 11 p.m. on November 25th. So we got about, Thanksgiving this weekend, a short little sprint here before I can wrap this up. But I just wanted to fill everyone in on what progress we've made so far. Got some pretty cool things to show you. Full disclosure, some of this stuff, as I mentioned in the, kind of the first video, these projects I've been kind of working on and chipping away at over time. So I had a little bit of a starting point when I began the month, but I would also argue for myself that, I had some friends and family in town that came to visit me. It was great to spend time with them. So it kind of maybe offset the progress there. But I digress. We're in a good spot. So let me show you guys what we got first. So just a reminder on what this is. Again, this is a newsletter with custom output. Depending on users' interest and what you want to see, each day you can get custom, basically news that's practical and applicable to what you want to hear and what you need to know. So I'm going to start off with our landing page. So when I began, all I'd really completed was the landing page, and that was about it. And some of these simpler things you're going to see. But so this is what we've got. Kind of a nice, beautiful hero section here. We got subscribe buttons all over the place. Login. I'll explain that later. Donation screen as well. How the donations work is everything's free. If you want to donate, you can. Kind of the buy me a cup of coffee if you wish. But if I ever do make this a paid service, which I most likely will if it reaches any sort of scale, because a lot of these things are just sunk costs for me. I will automatically, anyone that donated a penny would automatically be upgraded, so to a full paid prescription for subscription for life. Anyways, so I kind of want to go through the sections here. We got, just kind of some basic stuff. I try to make it really visually appealing. Nowadays, with a lot of the AI capabilities, there's a lot of slop on websites and cookie cutter stuff. So I tried to differentiate from that a little bit. Yeah, got some things, explaining what we do, some connections for social platforms here. But anytime you want to subscribe or get started, we go into this onboarding flow. And this is really, kind of where the magic of it happens. So I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone that wants to subscribe and receive this newsletter. First, want to collect what their role is, what you kind of want to do. So I'll just say founder. What industry do you work in? So this is where, of course, we collect the industry they want, and then their newsletter would be tailored and serve them news that's applicable to this industry. So I'm going to select, let's go with consulting, because that's kind of what I do with Lumentel, and maybe tech startups, because that stuff is interesting to me. Interest. So this is another section where, another level, another layer of differentiation. Maybe, of course, you maybe work in, like, for example, the medical industry, but do you care about everything? Like maybe you care about personal finance, but you work in the medical industry. Maybe that's a bad example, but things like that, where we can get another layer of interest from this. So I'm going to go with tech news and trends. That's kind of the big one. Maybe some AI tools, automation, and market insights. This is a big one. So how you want it delivered. Someone like me, maybe, I have a lot of newsletters, and I notice the more that I have to read them, the more I skip over them. So I think I just want quick highlights. That's why we also provide the in-depth breakdowns for someone who maybe is not as technical. For example, with my earlier example, maybe someone like my mom is in the medical industry, but she wants to learn about new business trends or tech trends. Well, she might want more in-depth breakdowns on how this stuff happens and how it might apply to her. Um, Same kind of vein here with the learning style. So you can still get quick highlights or in-depth, but maybe you want analogies, maybe you want playbooks, things you can actually take away, or maybe you just want boom, 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 checklist frameworks, ways to think. And I like that one too. And then, of course, with all newsletters, I need to send it to you. So that's where this basic stuff comes in. And to AI, by the way, message me if you want something built custom for you like this, custom software. I do AI consulting as well. And we're going to create an account. So this account system right here allows users to come back later and edit what preferences they've set. Make that for myself and register. My password doesn't like it, but that's fine. And then you can see here this dashboard here where I can reconfigure whatever I've got. All right, so that's it. For the web facing portion, we can go back. Of course, you can see how it back to start. The next big thing, this is on my side for operational things. So reframing, me building out this system. I need to collect content, collect news, curate it, and make sure I have good coverage for all kind of users that I'd be sending to. And then also monitor how my newsletter is performing, open rates, see what users, see user counts, who's subscribing or unsubscribing, things like that. So that's where this whole dashboard comes in that I built out. So this is, again, high level view on this dashboard. This is where I can ingest and monitor, basically send off prompts. I'll pull information from APIs, RSS feeds, which is like an API for a news feed. Can send out custom AI research prompts to bring me news prompts. And then these are where I can also customize these prompts. And then this is the big section here is the content inbox. So these are all sources of data and things that I would comb over, see what I like, see what I don't like. It also has them tagged for certain things. So we can see like, here's a business and market insights, applies to consulting agencies, and it displays it as frameworks. It'd be pending, so like, let's say this one's fine for me. Okay, that one's good. And it's out of the queue. Can do simple stuff. All the basic things here, like bulk update, bulk approve and reject. I can add tags. Setting scores is a big one here. So if a user, Sally that is in the medical industry and wants finance tips, an article is going to be scored different for her than someone like me, a founder, or, someone interested in AI that wants quick highlights. Those are going to be different. So that's where the scoring system comes in. And that basically determines who gets fed what. And we have it's a pretty simple algorithmic score that we made there, but that's how that's determined. You kind of have some basic data analytics stuff here. We got user profiles, can update preferences. If someone is having issues, I can see analytics if people are changing it. I can also see, how many people we have in what categories and what interests are popping as well. Learning style breakdown. This is all tied into my database as well that I set up. Can see unsubscribes. Thankfully, we haven't had any unsubscribers yet because we've had no subscribers. This is tied into a resend API where I can determine, can see statistics on what's pending, what's going out, sent, failures. Can see some simple analytics, basic stuff here, settings. So some of this stuff still needs to be fleshed out in this last sprint here, but it's about 90% of the way there to being fully fleshed out. That's the meat and potatoes. This dashboard was kind of the big, again, bigger picture here. The goal is to have this system operationalized in something where it takes a little bit of maintenance for me by the end of the month, so that I can move on to the next thing, right? And kind of cut the bait on this, have a business, or if you want to call it a business or a side project or side hustle or whatever you want to call it, it would just take a couple hours a week from me to maintain, and I can build it up from there and focus on other things. That's kind of the goal with this, is to close the loop on projects. And then the last thing, another big aspect of this, right, is, okay, I've made a newsletter. How do I get people to see it? So this dives into the marketing, and one of the big marketing, I guess, angles I want to attack is, having this be like the secret newsletter that, successful people use because they can get in and get out, get the information they need and have it applicable to them. So really wanted to lean into that aspect. You can see here, earlier I showed some of these early marketing, images that I generated um, using AI models, but you know, these were this is the direction I kind of wanted to go. So I use this tool called Weavy. Weavy is an awesome tool. I've just recently discovered it, but I've fallen in love. It's pretty awesome. Let me just kind of explain what's going on here. So you can see all these really confusing nodes and it looks pretty complicated, but when you see the content, it's really just taking pieces, modularity of a prompt, and then you're able to sandwich it all together to get a final output. So you can see here, I have this prompt to basically make 10 scenes or ideas for an image. I have these kind of source images that I generated manually before. This all gets fed into, so we have a prompt here to give me ideas for scenes. This outputs 10 scenes. This will split those scenes up and this will loop over all of them. And what this does is basically concatenates this other aspect here. So it takes, prompt 1, injects it into here. We have a system prompt loaded that will apply to every image that gets generated. And then we have, some simple extra context on what the logo looks like. So this describes the logo in text, and also you notice it feeds it in as well as an image. All this gets sandwiched into this master prompt here. Again, with this is another system prompt. So notice we have a system prompt at this layer and at this layer. This serves as like our photo shoot director system prompt. So this, kind of tells it what kind of style and atmosphere, things we're looking at, angles, shot composition. All these aspects, again, will get shoveled into this master prompt. They can get iterated over. And then this is kind of where the magic happens. This is that final output. So you notice we have some images here, but they're all going to be different scenes, different complexion. And all these were generated in just seconds, right? So usually instead of to come over and type in everything and ... change the scene. Oh, I don't like that as much. This tool just allows you to bulk generate. You go from idea to final product in, a matter of seconds once you get your process kind of massaged out. So, of course, again, not all these are going to be winners. That's kind of the beauty of it too. If I can generate 40 of these in seconds, they don't all have to be great. Some of these are pretty bad. Like, this is obviously AI and it doesn't show the practical edge at all. So this is bad. And this was from an earlier prompt I made, but you help refine it, things get refined, and only one of these has to be good out of the bunch, but it took me just a few minutes to make instead of, maybe hours that would spend combing over this. And then just, to close it off here at the end here, this is just a little concatenator. So, when I maybe end up using these in production, forgive the aspect ratio here. It's just a little glitch visually, but, it overlays my logo on there when I actually want to go out and post these. But, that's kind of a cool little extra flavor on top. We have our, meat and potatoes with the landing page and my dashboard that I personally use here. But this stuff is also cool to me. So wanted to share that. We're going to wrap it up there for my update. I'll have one more. I don't know how I'm going to do the last video either. I'll do, a final video with the final product, and then after, as a separate video, a little bit of a post-mortem kind of reflecting. I think that'd be important to kind of reflect. Those might be separate or in one. I haven't quite decided. We'll see what time allows, but stay tuned. Really excited for this. Again, this is I want to start off with one that I really enjoyed. So it gave me good motivation in this month to kind of this is something I don't want to die. I really like this idea quite a bit. And I think it has some legs. Of course you would, maybe be biased. I think a lot of the ideas I have maybe have some legs. But this one especially I really like. So I kind of don't want it to die. And that gives me motivation to actually, wrap stuff up and get it done. So that's going to be it. I will talk to you guys in the next video.